Hey everybody, once again we're in the shop here today. I want to spend today going over the oxyacetylene cutting torch. So we've done a couple videos on oxyacetylene safety and tank safety and all that. And we could do some stuff with oxyacetylene welding, but you know, just welding with oxyacetylene, it's not done very often anymore, and it's a process that I don't want to spend distance learning time on. So if you do happen to use an oxyacetylene setup, chances are it's going to be for bending, heating, or cutting. You're probably not going to be doing welding with it. So I thought I'd go over a cutting head with you today. So first off, I have just a regular old torch head on here. And I'm going to come in close here, Dina. If you look at the end of the torch head, all you have is just one hole. And out of that hole comes the flame of this thing. And we get metal hot enough to fuse it together. Seems like a pretty simple setup. Well, a cutting head uses the same philosophy, but it's going to be much more complicated. Both of these tools go on the same thing. This is a cutting head, this is a welding tip. Okay. The cutting head, if you look at it, has 3 tubes going out of here and an extra knob on it. Okay, so one of these tubes is for acetylene, one of these tubes is for oxygen, and one of these tubes is for more oxygen. Okay, so 2 of these tubes are for oxygen, one's for acetylene. I don't know which one's which, honestly, but it really doesn't matter for our setup. Let's take a look at what our actual tip looks like on this thing. I grabbed a brand new one to make it a little bit easier to see. So if you look at the tip on this one, we have a big hole in the middle and several holes around the outside. What that's for is when we cut with oxyacetylene, what we're doing is we're doing more than just melting or getting the metal to a melting point. What we're going to do is we're going to get the metal to a certain temperature, we're going to get it bright orange, and then we're going to apply oxygen to it. What that oxygen is going to do is it's going to superheat it. It's going to be like throwing gasoline on a fire. If you remember, oxygen is a necessary ingredient for fire. Well, if you start throwing more and more oxygen at something that's already hot or close to burning, you're going to get it really, really hot and really, really burning. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to throw more oxygen on something that's already burning and superheat it. Okay, so I'm going to go over how it's going to work. First of all, our torch head is going to screw onto our torch handle valve assembly here. We're going to turn our tanks on. If you remember, acetylene gets turned half turn, oxygen gets turned on all the way. On our torch handle, our oxygen on this one gets turned on all the way. And then we're going to turn acetylene on just to crack it. Just open it just a little bit. And then we're going to turn the acetylene regulator to 5. And I'm not going to get too caught up in exact measurements here, but it should be at 5 when it's flowing. Now I'm going to turn the acetylene off, and we're going to open our other oxygen valve down here. So I have that valve open, and we're going to turn our oxygen to 20. See our gauge rising over here at 20 flowing. We're going to turn our oxygen off again. Now we're going to get ready to fire up the torch and make a cut. So I'm going to get some personal protective equipment on here. I'm going to put on a face shield. And I'm going to put on some gloves. I don't have a whole lot of welding gloves because I sent them over with the welding kit, so I got some of mine from home here. And we're ready to fire this thing up. So we're going to start with cracking the acetylene valve and lighting the acetylene. Now, how much acetylene do we want? Well, there's 2 rules of thumb to go by. We can go until the flame stops smoking, so I'm going to slowly turn it up until it stops smoking black, right about there. Or I can go until there's an inch of skinny flame, which is right about there. Both of them are about the same spot. There's 2 ways to measure that. Once we have our acetylene set, then we're ready to bring in our oxygen. So I'm going to bring in my oxygen now by slowly opening this one. Whoops. And I accidentally brought on board a little bit too much there at one time. So we'll bring this up again. And I may have a dirty tip here. I apologize. Might be a little bit here. You should always test your stuff before you make videos, everybody. Remember that. Now we can just swap the tip real quick. Much easier. Put our brand new one in. If we have problems there, then we've really got problems. Okay, try this again. Okay, so when you're adjusting the flame, you can see that there's this long blue finger that comes out right here. I want to adjust the flame until that blue finger is just gone. I just see it tip on it. If I keep going, that's too much oxygen. If I have it too far like this, that's too much acetylene. So we want to go until that flame is just gone. Now we're ready to make our cut. I have a piece of steel here that's a 1/4 inch thick steel, and I'm going to cut all the way through it. So once again, I have to preheat the metal before I can make a cut. So I have to wait until it gets hot enough. Once it gets hot enough, I'm going to push this lever down right here, and that's going to send out more oxygen to make the cut. And here we go, we're making our cut. Made our cut through for metal, nice clean cut. A little bit of slag left, that's kind of the drawback of the torch, is that it leaves a little bit of slag, but how do we clean that up? With the angle grinders that we went over yesterday. Okay, to shut down the torch, I like to kill the flame right away, so I turn acetylene off, oxygen off. Then we're going to turn our tanks off, both tanks. And then we're going to drain all the gas out of the line. So I'm going to start with acetylene. I just go until all gauges are at 0. Then we'll go with oxygen. All gauges are at 0. Once that's done, we close our oxygen valve on our torch. Open up our regulator screws to release the tension. And that's it. I know it seems like a complicated process, and it really kind of is, but after you do it about 10 times, you get the hang of it and it becomes burned into your memory how to do it. That's it for today, everybody. See you on the next video.